The truth about Ferrari's internal chaos was finally exposed for the world to see and hear. During the Canadian Grand Prix, what was supposed to be a weekend of redemption turned into a complete nightmare for the Scuderia, with both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc furious after a series of poor decisions, broken communication, and a race strategy that fell apart in real time. The leaked radio messages from both drivers have now confirmed what many fans had feared for months, that Ferrari is struggling not just with car performance, but with leadership, coordination, and the trust of their own drivers. These messages didn't just reveal confusion, they revealed a team that is rapidly falling apart from the inside. Hamilton and Leclerc arrived in Montreal expecting progress. The upgrades promised improvements, the mood within the team seemed optimistic, and everyone at Ferrari was pushing the narrative that this would be the race where things turned around. But from the very start of the weekend, things began to unravel. Leclerc suffered a crash during practice. Hamilton voiced concerns about grip and balance. And by the time the lights went out on race day, the team was already chasing answers. Instead of leading with clarity and precision, Ferrari's pit wall became a symbol of disorder. Their race calls were inconsistent. Their messages to the drivers lacked coherence. And their timing with tire changes and strategy decisions simply didn't make sense. The radio messages, which have now been leaked to the public, captured every detail of this collapse. Lewis Hamilton's frustration became more evident with each lap. He asked, "Why is this car so slow?" And it wasn't out of anger. It was a genuine plea for understanding. A 7-time world champion, confused and cornered in a machine that wasn't giving him anything to fight with. He reported problems with power, grip, and the rear end of the car. He even shouted, "Out of power, out of pace," followed by another sharp message, "Where have I lost 25 seconds?" The disbelief in his voice was unmistakable. Hamilton also reported brake issues, saying, "I've had no rear, and brake pedal is getting low. I can't stop the car." These are not minor concerns during the Grand Prix. These are warnings, signs of a car that is either poorly set up, breaking down, or worse, unsafe. Yet when Hamilton sought clarity from the pit wall, what he got was a bizarre response. "It's quite balanced." That disconnect between the driver's reality and the engineer's response was more than just a technical misstep. It was a moment that showed the gap between the cockpit and the command center. While Hamilton battled with confusion and mechanical issues, Charles Leclerc was caught in a strategic nightmare of his own. His radio messages revealed a driver desperately trying to understand what the team was doing. At one point, the pit wall told him they were switching to Plan B. Leclerc replied, "I think Plan C." His tone was flat but irritated, showing a driver who no longer had faith in what he was being told. Moments later, chaos struck again. The team brought him in for a tire change, a decision that left him baffled. He asked, "Why have we boxed?" And the reply came, "We're on Plan B." But the most telling moment came in Leclerc's response, "Yeah, but I was just telling you tires were fine." That quiet pause in the middle of the sentence carried the weight of disbelief. He had communicated clearly. The tires were still working. There was no need to pit. And yet the team ignored his input, changing the strategy without waiting to fully process the information. His final comment on the matter was cutting. "I don't understand this choice." That sentence, now circulating across social media and news sites, sums up what many inside and outside Ferrari have been feeling, that the decisions being made are not only flawed, but being executed without the driver's involvement or feedback. These weren't the angry rants of two drivers having a bad day. They were calm, precise, and deeply frustrated statements from athletes who have given everything for their team and are now watching it unravel. Hamilton, who joined Ferrari with the hope of writing a new chapter in his legendary career, now finds himself in a position he likely didn't expect, fighting not just the competition, but the very team supposed to support him. Leclerc, the young star who has shown loyalty and maturity for years, seems increasingly disillusioned. What makes the situation even more serious is how public it has become. The radio messages weren't supposed to be heard outside the team, but now fans, analysts, and even rival teams have access to the raw audio, a front row seat to Ferrari's dysfunction, and that creates another problem: pressure from the media, from the tifosi, and from within the company itself. When a Formula One team's problems go public, the damage isn't just technical, it becomes cultural. It shakes morale, it triggers doubt, it invites scrutiny. The body language after the race said everything. Leclerc was seen staring blankly, almost replaying every bad call in his head. Hamilton packed his gear in silence, not in anger, but in disappointment. That quiet disappointment says more than shouting ever could. It's the look of a man who's beginning to question the decision to leave Mercedes, a team known for order and excellence, to join a project that, so far, has shown more chaos than championship potential. For Ferrari, this isn't just a blip, it's a warning. The dream of having the star drivers leading them back to glory is fading fast, not because of the drivers, but because of the team behind them, the engineers, the strategists, the leaders on the pit wall. All of them are being called into question. And when both Hamilton and Leclerc start openly doubting decisions during a race, it's not something that can be ignored. The consequences are already being felt. Fans are demanding answers. Sponsors are watching closely. The Italian media, always intense when it comes to Ferrari, is now turning up the pressure. And inside the team, there's tension, engineers avoiding blame, leadership scrambling for explanations, and mechanics caught in the middle of it all. A team that should be united is now fractured. This incident at the Canadian Grand Prix might mark a turning point in Ferrari's season. If they don't act fast, if they don't regain control and rebuild the trust between the drivers and the pit wall, the rest of the year could spiral into more failures, more leaks, and more questions. And for Hamilton and Leclerc, two of the most talented drivers on the grid, it's becoming harder to stay silent. Hamilton has always been known for his professionalism and control. He doesn't often let frustration get the best of him. So when he starts using words like betrayed or confused, people listen. And when he questions the strategy lived during a race, it's a sign that something has gone seriously wrong. The same goes for Leclerc, who has usually defended Ferrari. Even in tough times, his sharp comments on the radio, his visibly shaken mood, and his quiet criticism after the race show that even his patience is running out. Ferrari can't afford to let this go unresolved. They have to face the problems head-on, admit the mistakes, learn from the breakdown in communication, and give their drivers the support they need. Otherwise, the damage won't just be to this season's standings, it will be to the team's reputation, its future plans, and its ability to attract and keep top talent. Formula One is not just about building fast cars. It's about building trust between the driver and the engineer, between the pit wall and the cockpit, between the team and the fans. Right now, that trust is broken, and the longer Ferrari waits to fix it, the harder it will be to recover. Montreal was supposed to be a step forward. Instead, it exposed everything that's wrong. The road ahead is still open. The season isn't over. But unless Ferrari starts listening to its drivers, respecting their feedback, and executing strategies with clarity, the same mistakes will keep happening, and the fallout will only grow. Hamilton and Leclerc have already spoken, not just through words, but through their tone, their silence, and their body language. The next move belongs to Ferrari.